Okay, before I read this article that we're going to talk about, I want to go on a big rant. Here's the article, real quick. House Democrat withdraws Trump impeachment bill that angered party leaders. So, I have a lot to say for this. Number one, Hakeem Jeffries might be the worst Democratic leader I've ever seen, ever, maybe ever, right beside Chuck Schumer. Like, these people are terrible, awful. At least Pelosi, when she was in charge, like had a little bit of wit and knew how to undermine Trump during his first term in certain ways. But these people, they're feckless. They're useless. They are they are just as responsible as Trump himself for what's happening to this country. They are enablers. Okay? Like, these motherfuckers need to be primaried out of existence, and I never want to hear their names in politics ever again. uh, Scolded Al Green for protesting Trump during his State of the Union speech. It wasn't like State of the Union, his address to Congress. And then, instead encouraged not clapping and just holding signs instead. Like, you just have absolutely no fight. You have no backbone. You have this weird diluted strategy, which I can see why you think it, but like, I'll elaborate in a second, but you have this diluted idea that Trump and MAGA and his administration is going to implode and cave in on itself and just do things so awful that, you basically you just have to sit back and watch. And that is just, I understand they're doing a lot of bad things, but we are at the point where the Democratic Party is so unpopular, and so just like they're so despised by everyone, even their own constituents, save like the actual people who know how to fight, like Bernie, AOC. Um, like, despite the Trump administration just being so blatantly, objectively authoritarian and fascist, I almost think that these people that are in charge of the Democratic Party and majority of the Democratic Party are just so damn repulsive that voters would just rather have fascists. But like, they just rather would. And to a degree, that is why Trump is in power now, and that is why what happened in November happened, because Kamala did not separate herself enough from Biden, and she was pretty much just as repulsive as these people. Like, they don't believe in anything, and that's true. They don't. Okay, like, if you want to win people over, you have to run on something, believe in something: free healthcare, free education, a livable minimum wage, infrastructure reform, anything. And it has to be a little radical, even though none of this is radical and it's just like a fact of life in every other developed country in the world. But hey, you need to do that, and you need to hammer away on the media nonstop. Republicans are so much better on the media and drumming up support for literally anything than the Democrats. Like, they've got like 50% of the country being like, we don't need iPhones. We can pay a little extra money in regards to the tariffs. Like, or making trans women in sports a nationwide issue, despite there being like 20 in the entire country. It's crazy. Or exploiting high-profile immigrant crime cases like Lake and Riley to drum up support, to use that as an excuse to deport millions of people, despite every study showing that immigrants commit significantly less crime than American citizens. And when you have an influx of immigrants in an area, it actually reduces crime. So, and Democrats just let this happen. They don't know how to message, say, Bernie Sanders and AOC. And they get continuously snubbed by Hakeem Jeffries and these other just goons, these ghouls. Like, oh, I can't. It's doing my head in. It is sincerely doing my head in. Okay, I haven't even read the article yet. But, okay. House Democrats withdraw Trump impeachment bill that angered party leaders. Angered party leaders. That's what caused this rant, by the way. Minutes before the House was scheduled for floor votes, Democratic Rep. Shri Thanedar, I should have looked up how to pronounce this. God damn it. Now I'm just going to bumble like an idiot. Announced he would not force a vote to impeach President Donald Trump as he planned. Thanadar's effort had angered not only Republicans, but also Democratic leaders who said they would work with Republicans to kill his bill. Bro, I thought Democrats couldn't sink any lower than voting to censure Al Green, but holy shit. Oh my God, these people are so repulsive. Oh my God. I can't believe I had to spend time fighting like the Trump administration and Republicans because they're that bad and have to be on just to be on the same side of these freaks. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Okay. Claiming he is holding off on the bill, claiming he wanted to add his impeachment articles to include Trump's plan to accept a Boeing 747 from Qatar as a gift. Okay. In the 15 days since I filed 7 articles of impeachment against President Trump, he has committed more impeachable offenses. And talking with many colleagues, I've decided not to force a vote on impeachment today. He wrote on X. Instead, I will add to my articles of impeachment and continue to rally support of both Democrats and Republicans to defend the Constitution with me. Oh my God, you guys are you're all just as responsible as Trump himself for just what this nation is becoming. Oh my goodness. I can't. This is why your approval rating's like 20%. House GOP leaders plan to introduce a motion to table the legislation and kill it before Thanedar's announcement. And House Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar said leaders from his party would join them. At this point, working with Republicans is just, it's beyond me. It is beyond, I can't. Our focus is on healthcare being stripped away from the American people. That is the most urgent and dire thing we could be talking about this week. Everything else is a distraction, Aguilar said at his weekly news conference. Taking a jab at Thanedar, I just want to call him Thanos. Aguilar added that while his conference has its differences, this is one that is a pretty easy call. Oh my goodness. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the effort another embarrassing political stunt. While Democrats are throwing fits, impeding law enforcement, playing political games, and demonstrating how far out of touch they are. Projection. Republicans are, and this is what I mean. This is exactly, he's describing the Republican Party. And then, like, the Democrats just have no defense or no pushback, and they just let it happen. And Republicans can just openly announce what they are doing and what they are actively doing it, and accuse the Democrats, and then people just believe them. Republicans are working to deliver lower taxes for families, restore American energy dominance, strengthen border security, restore peace through strength, and make government work more efficiently and effectively. The contrast has never been more clear. At a rally last month celebrating his first 100 days, Trump was impeached twice during his first term, said, "Here we go again." He said the fact that Democrats have no control over a dumb guy like this shows what the fuck. They have no confidence anymore as a party. That's true. Thanedar introduced 7 articles of impeachment against Trump last month, arguing the president is abusing the power of his office for his own self-interest and repeatedly defied the Constitution, among other broad charges. Without the backing of the top Democrats in the House nor a majority of his caucus, Thanedar's effort went nowhere until earlier this week when he introduced his impeachment resolution as privilege, forcing the chamber to consider the legislation within 2 legislative days. Will I succeed this week? Maybe not, but we'll continue to do this until we have a victory, he said at a news conference. We'll continue to fight until we have victory, until we remove this president from office for his unconstitutional, illegal, impeachable misconduct. We're going to continue. Yeah, so that was a lie. House Democratic leaders want to focus on other issues, which is fine. I just tell them, hey, we can do that and we can do this as well. That was a lie. However, his move would force Democrats to go on the record in the issue, and he dismissed concerns that his efforts could hurt vulnerable Democratic colleagues, arguing that Republicans would have to vote on it as well. We take hard votes every day. Every day there's a hard vote to take. That's my job. They just need to look into not what plays well in politically, not what the polls are saying. We got to do the right thing. Yeah, except that was a lie. He was elected in the then open seat in 2022, faces a tough re-election battle. His fellow Michigan Democratic Rep. Rashida Tlaib, a prominent progressive, endorsed Thanedar's primary challenger, Representative Donovan McKinley, earlier this week. Oh, yes, please get this guy out of here. Jesus, I'm done with absent members who don't call their residents back, Tlaib said in a post on X, referring to Thanedar. So, I mean, what starts out as like a complicated view on the idea of impeaching Trump on every single thing, illegal thing he does. And as I talk myself through it, it becomes more and more clear that like that is absolutely what you should be doing. That is like your constitutional duty. So I can understand to some degree how it could look to maybe a normie, the repetitiveness and silliness of impeaching, like introducing all these impeachment articles, just knowing that they will fail. But on the other hand, if the president does a completely like impeachable offense, like clearly impeachable, like he has done plenty of times so far in his first 100 days and beyond, no matter how many offenses they commit, they should be impeached. Like there should be articles of impeachment brought up. And you can't just be like, well, it will fail or we're going to look overreactive. No, there should be, it's important that there is a record for each one of these offenses showing that Congress attempted to take action. So not only you have that record, you have everyone and where they voted. It's almost like, what were you doing when the Nazis were gassing people and so on and forth? You want a record that you were at least trying to fight, and you want a record of people who were fighting and people who were complicit and people who were just outright just supporting and encouraging it. Like in the future, you will be able to look back and you can see who was fighting fascism and who wasn't. And like every single crime, like actual impeachable crime that he commits, and you can find a bunch, should be its own impeachment article. It should be its own bill. And it's, you got to change your strategy on how you handle the media and the public. Like I said earlier, Democrats are just incapable of drumming up support for like anything, except for AOC and Bernie. But Democrats as a whole want to snub AOC and Bernie's message and snub their strategies to just drift more to the center and drift more to the right in their rhetoric. Like, it's crazy. And it's like they never learn. They never learn. Like, you need to learn how to handle the media, and you need to, as we talked about earlier, get a clear message. I understand that this is a fascist regime and democracy is slipping, but you need to give more than just that. You need to give people something, an alternative vision and an alternative message, like free healthcare, free education, a livable minimum wage, or else people, weirdly enough, are just going to choose fascism. Like, it's weird, I know. And any person who is remotely pragmatic wouldn't choose fascism, but this is the country we live in, okay? So, I just, it blows my mind that we still have Democrats, especially Democratic leadership, willingly work with Republicans to snub their own party. Snub people in their party who are actually reasonably trying to do something, anything, whether it be censuring Al Green. Like, that was sickening. Like, Jesus. And then now we have this. And then, of course, we have their indirect attacks on AOC and Bernie, saying, like, you have Alyssa Slotkin or whatever that freaking ghoul's name is, going out and be like, we need to be less woke. We need to not use the term oligarchy. Like, oh dear. And that's like an obvious like stab at Bernie and AOC, because their entire tour is the Fight Oligarchy tour, which has been shattering records across the country, whether it be in a blue district or a red district. But no, these people just don't fucking get it, and it blows my mind. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.